So Andy, happy to have you here. It's 3 p.m. in Munich, Germany. It's 9 a.m. in New York. And
Yep.
you are one of the founding team members of Rumble Boxing. And
Yes.
today we're going to talk about how you guys went through the COVID times, how you kind of replicated the community experience, the boutique experience online, what worked for you, what didn't, and what you learned along the way,
Of
right?
course.
So
Thank you
let's,
for having me.
yeah, I'm happy to have you here. And let's jump into it. We don't have much time. We have half an
Of
hour
course.
packed with, hopefully packed with information for the audience of the FitTech Summit FIBO edition. And maybe you could just start with briefly introducing yourself. Who are you? Where
Yes.
are you? What do you do?
So again, thank you for having me. My name is Andy Stern. I am currently in New York City. I am a part of the founding team of Rumble Boxing, which is a group fitness boxing studio we launched in New York in 2017. Since then, we've had great success. We launched 13 different studios across 5 markets across the United States: Los Angeles, San Francisco, DC, and Philadelphia. And we did that. The success behind that was what you mentioned quickly, was community. We really drove home the community and hospitality aspect of an experience known as group fitness, which obviously all of our guests today are quite familiar with. But for us at Rumble Boxing, creating an experience through the workout was one thing, but creating the community through it with hospitality, great music, great lights, great amenities, social media, it was all encompassing. It was this 360-degree kind of vision that, of course, took a tremendous 360-degree turn when COVID, struck
It
the
definitely
industry.
did. When I visited San Francisco not so long ago, I went to a Rumble Boxing class and I was
Thank you.
so excited to see how much of the community aspects are there. These Instagrammable experiences, the pictures on the wall, the kind of the atmosphere where you almost feel religious. We keep saying that fitness is the new religion. And that was this kind of community doing things together, sweating together in this fully packed room, which really excited me. Why don't we show a quick video of how
Please.
classes looked like normally, and then compare that to what we have today.
In 60 seconds, here's what to expect if you decide to take your talents to Rumble. Salute the Basquiat on your way to the front desk. They'll get you checked in and give you your starting spot. F means floor, B means bag. If you need gloves, wraps, or water, let them know and they'll get you situated. Hit the changing rooms and check out our beautiful, spacious, and well-stocked showers. Throw your street gear in a locker and make yourself at home. Good chance to take a photo for the gram, just saying. 5 minutes before class, you'll hear the overhead speaker kick on and your instructor will welcome you to Rumble. If you're on the floor side, throw your gear underneath your bench. If you're on the bag side, place your gear directly underneath the aqua bag. Give someone a high five if you're feeling frisky and get ready to rumble. Your instructor is going to walk you through the 6 punches, so listen up. This is your chance to make sure you're throwing clean punches so you don't want to miss out on the pre-class. From there, the lights get low, the music gets loud, and you get to hustle your way through 45 minutes of fun and fury. You'll spend half the time pounding our exclusive aqua bags and half the time sweating through strength and bodyweight circuits. 10 rounds, 2 fists, 0 experience necessary. Welcome to Rumble.
Makes me miss it so much more.
Yeah, it's so much more. And
Amazing.
obviously, this is all not possible anymore in COVID times because you guys in the States are still closed, right? You're shut down.
Yes,
So
currently.
pre-COVID, you said experience was the king. Would you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So you noticed in the video, as soon as you walked in, there was this element of clean. For this big premise for us was to get rid of this stereotypical boxing feel of you had to be dirty, it was grungy, the gloves were smelly. We wanted to get rid of that kind of stereotype and bring hospitality and a premium service to an amazing sport, a sport that empowers people, a sport that's fun, that's obviously still booming. So for us, it started the moment that the person walked in the door. A big greeting from our front house. It has to feel like you're welcoming. Why? Because the intimidation factor of boxing. And unfortunately, like, you have that, no matter where you go for the first time, you feel intimidated. You're right, you feel like you don't know what you're gonna do. We wanted to make sure.
At the very beginning. That was also new
Yeah.
for you when I was there.
Always. I mean, even as a professional, when I go to a studio or do something new, I feel like everybody's better at it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be lost. So that greeting is really, really important. Welcome to Rumble. Right away, you're like, okay, this is fun. You see the artwork that we have local artists create, which is paying homage to the obviously the urban lifestyle that we are kind of in our DNA, the hip hop music that's in our DNA, the retail, everything plays a part of the story. So when that customer comes in, they go to the lockers, they see some nostalgic kind of stickers, which makes them feel like they're in high school.
You say everything is part of the story. What stories were you telling your customers?
Well, everyone I think has a different story when they come in, but I think the overall story that when you feel like it's a premium service, so you're paying top dollar, but you're also feeling, when I say a certain type of way, as you can tell when you've been there, you feel cool, you feel good, you feel like you can accomplish something. You put the wraps on, you got the gloves ready, you hear hip hop music, you see 59 other people around, and everybody has this like, let's do this thing. And it's a very conquering, motivating, empowering emotion right before. And that's what you notice, the high fives at the door, that kicks off the community aspect of we're all in this. Even like professional fighters, first timers, let's go. And right off the bat, you're like, let's do this thing. So it amps up the energy.
Absolutely, you kind of get pumped up. And for me, I had the impression that you're catering to the audience, which is very young. It's like millennials, young professionals who have very efficient lifestyles. And that's also what they expect from the workout. Fun, sweat, and efficiency, right?
And it's that feeling of like, look, we know the success of a group fitness model in terms of a program where tells you what to do, when to do it, and you're around a group. So you trust the brand to put on an exercise program that's going to work. Putting that aside, knowing that the program will work, if you consistently do it, there's the element of accountability when there's people around you, right? You want to work harder when the people around you are working harder. You want to show up because your friends are showing up. Your friends are posting about going to a class. So now you start to feel like, I got to go to class. So it kind of brings you into like almost a FOMO, fear of missing out, if you don't go to a workout class, especially at Rumble, which has been successful for us. And I know we'll talk more about social media, but that social media aspect and building a community on social media for people like yourself that came to a city and put Rumble Boxing on their itinerary is amazing to me. It's fascinating, right? It's sometimes when I go to travel, I'm not thinking of a workout place, but now we are. Now we're thinking that's something on our agenda.
That's exactly the problem. Now it's not anymore. So then COVID came. What happened to the company?
Quickly, we pivoted like everybody else. Everyone's saying the word pivoted. I think when we think of the word pivoted, we think of a quick turn and you know what you're doing. I don't think anybody really understood what we were doing at first. I think we're all still kind of learning what works, what doesn't work. For us, we had tremendous success on Instagram Live, giving away basically our product for free to, which we really never did before, to the entire audience. Our social media following is very strong, very engaged community. And now we're providing value behind this. Originally, it was people following us because we're trendy, because we're cool, we're posting great photos, some education, but ultimately now we're actually providing a workout for free that you could do at home. So right off the bat, our engagement was through the roof. Thousands of views on workouts.
And can see what you mean.
Get things rolling. Brian, I definitely can't hear the music, so I would need it pumped up because otherwise, I can't hear my beat drops. All right, so here.
That's Joe Ferrara.
300 people on here today. So, from the basement, from Long Island to the basement, up on, somewhere uptown, your screens.
300 people on Instagram. The question is.
No, our Instagram, our first kind of move into the digital space was our Instagram Live. Mm-hmm. It took a few weeks for us to understand how to monetize this because we didn't know how long COVID would really last. So we put it behind a paywall. We took it to Zoom where we could build a more community aspect. So Instagram allowed us to get a massive audience. It allowed us for engagement on comments and people sharing our workouts, which is great. Following went through the roof. But for businesses, there's very little monetization there at that point. We have to try to convert that consumer into a customer. So we introduced Rumble TV, which you could book through our app. You get a private Zoom link, and then you see what Joe was just presenting. You get a class with your community. And we also wanted to take a lot of the elements from our studio into the Zoom or Rumble TV. So you see visual aids helping you kind of follow along. You hear great music. You see Joe doing all of the workout, which a lot of the studios are replicating. The success that we had was the power of our brand. People loved our trainers and they wanted to continue to work out with them. Obviously, if COVID closes the studios, this was the best alternative option.
So what I hear you saying is that if your brand is strong enough, you still have the opportunities to go digital and to be kind of present in the minds of the community.
Yes, I think it's, and listen, we're still learning it, and which is great because as we started, we did almost what we thought we should do. And let me articulate that better. Like, we taught the class as we always taught the class, but it's not the same class. There's not the same lights. There's not the same aqua bags. There's not the same music sound system. There's not the same high fives at the door. So for us to recreate that kind of energy and community, it took a little strategy, and it took strategy in the programming, the marketing, and then the post-class and pre-class kind of connection to the actual customer, which is hard to do on a digital space. But for us, particularly in programming, don't just do what you've done in a four-wall strategy. And this is kind of a good suggestion to anybody that owns a studio that is now digital. What worked in your four-wall can live in your four-wall, but you got to be able to pivot your workout variety and selection for your customers, because we're all getting trained a little differently right now. We're getting trained with thousands of workout options. You need some type of kind of hook that's going to keep your customer coming back, right? You need that consistency. You need that frequency.
And what was this hook for you, for your brand?
It's still coming along, but we've launched some great products that really built that frequency. We just finished up something called Rumble Summer Camp, which was a 21-day kind of progressive week over week, day over day build, which that was our best kind of example of community. We had over 400 people day in doing 60-minute workouts, posting about it, connecting offline about it, holding each other accountable. The community really evolves from that feeling of, we're in this, even though I don't even know who you actually are, which is remarkable, right? People all around the world doing workouts together, which it's motivating. It's like, wow, this is cool. It's an experience that nobody, I don't think, could ever articulate. You know, it's like, I'm working out with the world.
And the summer camp, it's purely digital. It's on Zoom, right?
Yep.
What's the price point for it?
So we charged a premium because we're a premium product. It was around the 200 mark. But again, this goes out to a lot of the business owners out there. What we strive to do is add value. Don't sell something on a price point. Sell the value of it. So we provided 6 60-minute workouts. We provided 60 extra minutes of content for you to do at home. We provided the resources of, if you can't take the class live, we'll get it to you on demand. There's a lot of those elements that prove the value and the price point where the customer's like, I'm getting a lot. And that's very important, because what you charged pre-COVID is different than what you could charge digitally, because the service, the experience, it's different. So I would not charge the same amount of money.
So that's exactly the question. Pre-COVID, you charged around, as far as I remember, was that $30 for?
New York City is $36 a class.
So now you're charging $200 for 21 days. That's pretty
Yes.
expensive, right? So the question is, of course, you do have less costs associated with the production of the content, but
Mhm.
you guys are still, as far as I understand, sitting on costs with the studios because you still own the studios or rent the studios, right? So how did the distribution of revenue change? Did you find new revenue channels? Um, was there maybe merchandising or something else which worked for you? What happened
Absolutely.
on the side?
So absolutely, we had to pivot our revenue as well. So we did launch our e-commerce site recently, which saw great success, right? People want to wear the swag, they want to wear the gear that their trainers are wearing because again, it brings them into the community. You feel like you're a part of something, which is amazing. Outside of that, we've now tapped more into events. A lot of corporations are trying to do kind of team builds and keep their culture strong. So what better way to do that than provide a team workout? So we've done a great job on our event side for Rumble TV. And of course, Rumble TV, the summer camp was one program. You know, every day we're cranking out content. Every day a customer could jump on Rumble TV, take a class, you know, feel great, take another one the next day, a different style of class, a different trainer, a different time slot. So there's variety in that aspect as well.
So are you happy with the way the revenue is developing right now? Or would you say if the shutdown lasts for 3 more months, you will not survive?
I'm pretty excited with, listen, I don't think there's the optimism in me thinking that, wow, we're not going to have any revenue, you know, as soon as this thing hit. That was just, we were all like, you know, as most people were, hands on their head, thinking this is bad, really bad. And it was bad, and it's still bad, but it's exciting in the sense that there is still some revenue coming in. And yes, our expenses are lower in some capacity because we have less staff, which is unfortunate. And our goal is to get enough revenue to bring back everybody. Ultimately, it's, you know, that's our family, that's our internal community. And without our employees, we don't have the culture of Rumble. So I'm excited to see, you know, how much more we can diversify our revenue streams. And ultimately, when we open up the studios, it's not an if, it's a when. When we open up our studios, this hybrid lifestyle, right? Because customers now, like yourself, who don't have a Rumble boxing close by, who might have gotten hooked on Rumble TV, still want to work out with Rumble trainers. But if the four walls open up and we disconnect that, which we wouldn't do, then we kind of lose a whole audience. You know, all these months of building this connection, it's foolish to cut it off. So when it reopens, this hybrid has to exist. The customer has to have the option of a digital and an in-person experience.
That's very interesting. So what you're saying is that in the future, we'll see way more hybrid models where we'll have physical locations for in-person experience, but also digital platforms like, in your case, Zoom or of course, Instagram, to reach out to new potential prospects for physical locations and also diversify the geographies. Is that right?
That's right. You know, I think I personally, on a trainer, when I put my trainer brain on, it is an amazing opportunity for trainers to double down on their personal brands. And you see here, I have on the slide, the shift of power between talent and brand. And I want to touch on this briefly because from an owner side, you know, at first when you have a studio, you have the power in the sense that all of the trainers need your platform to reach an audience, to teach, to do what they do, to do what they love. When this shifted, the trainer, ultimately with the talent, has a lot of the power, which is great. You know, when you think of it as a trainer, I could put on my own Zooms, I could do my own marketing, I could reach out to customers, businesses, organizations. I could build my own little business. So I'm very curious to see when studios reopen, this shift of trainers and brands kind of aligning to really meet, hey, I've built my own brand, I still want to make my own income. And then brands saying, but we're still the brand, we still have an amazing reach, let's live kind of, cohesively so that we both win. So I'm very interested to see how that all plays out once studios really reopen, and also the utilization of digital classes. How many classes will customers take in person versus the digital? Will it be 2 and 2? Will it be 3 and 1? That split's going to be very interesting.
What's your take on that? What do you think will happen?
I think they're understanding that the at-home workout is efficient, it's effective, it's cost efficient, and when things get challenging in the past, it was easy to say, I'm not working out today. Maybe you got tied up at work, maybe something with your kids at school, something kind of, broke your agenda plans, and then you would be like, nah, I'll work out tomorrow, it's okay. Now you can still squeeze it in, which is really exciting. I think the experience of going, and it's like going out to eat versus ordering food. It's still the same food, right? But it's the experience of going out to that restaurant that you still love, you still crave, you still get a great emotional feeling from it. So they're going to want to do this in studio class, but if they can't, they're not going to neglect their workout. And I think it's actually going to be a much better space for the entire fitness industry because of that option, keeping people consistent on multiple modalities, digital or four-wall.
What you also hear saying is that, you've been talking a lot about emotions and the human connection. So how do you really replicate this human connection on digital platforms?
It is harder because of digitally, but it's also easier in 2020 beyond, all of us know it, right? We're connected via email, via every social media platform, via text messaging, via phone calls, via FaceTime. There's the means of connections are all around us. It's just a matter of how do you tap into it? What's your messaging? What's the purpose behind this? And how frequently are you really reaching out to your customers, right? If you're reaching out once in a while, you're not relevant. If you're reaching out every day, you're annoying. So you got to find this balance of, what's the point of this message, and how can I help, add value to this conversation when I am reaching out. And one of the most, honestly, the best things that I've done when I've reached out one-on-one is getting feedback. How was the class? What did you think? How was the music? How was the volume? How was my lighting? How was the space? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? Let the customers in this climate kind of help us as the pioneers of this digital fitness space.
If you compare the retention of the customers in the physical space and in the digital space, what do you see? What was before COVID and what's happening now?
Prior to, in New York, we were seeing an average customer 1 to 2 times a week, which is good if you think about all of the competition, the price point, the challenge it is to schedule a workout amongst a million things on your to-do list. We're actually seeing double that frequency on the digital. And I really do, I put it towards a lower price point because of the factors of the world, not just the product itself, because the product's amazing, but being humble and understanding that there are millions of people out of work. There are millions of people that have took pay cuts, that are struggling. So it's not the time to exploit the customers and charge a lot of money. Build that humanization connection and understand where they're coming from, that they want to work out with you, and it should de-stress them. Paying a premium price in this climate is ultimately going to stress anybody out because of the financial hardships. So when you take a look at that and you take a look at the convenience, open up your computer, pop open your phone, move your couch 6 inches, and now you've got a gym. That convenience makes it a lot less, there's a lot less barriers to, hey, I'm not working out today. I don't want to get in the car. I don't want to get on a subway. It's like, no, the gym's right there. I'll work out. It's 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Andy, that's a very interesting point, because before that, you guys were kind of competing in the boutique space, a little bit in the gym space, right? You were competing, I suppose, also with CrossFit guys. things are changing now. So now with digital experiences, you're competing in a way more crowded space, and your competition is way more, YouTube, it's way more free Instagram lessons, it's way more fitness apps. So what does that mean for your business? What would be maybe if you could choose one answer to that, what would be this one answer? What can you do to survive and thrive, hopefully?
Great question, by the way, because we succeeded, and I'll speak about this real quickly. We succeeded so well in the early stages because we were, I don't want to say the first, but we were the first in our kind of area to bring group fitness boxing with the hospitality, the entertainment, the music, the hip hop, the lights. So that differentiating factor for us was why people wanted to come back, right? While there was competition in spin and CrossFit and running classes, yoga and so forth, we had the boxing kind of market in our hands, which was great. Now, with everybody kind of the playing field being even, body weight workouts, we still have a little bit of competitive advantage with shadow boxing because we know the effects and the benefits of shadow boxing. But to go back, how do you stand out amongst the thousands of platforms putting out content, like you mentioned, free as well? The number one thing that I've thought through is variety. And then I mean that, and I talked about it briefly. Having variety inside your programs is super, super important because in this climate, customers want to build their frequency. And if you're consistently putting out the same class every day, it's not only boring, it's not effective, and it doesn't necessarily work, right? Because of the thousands of opportunities that are at my fingertips. So I challenge any kind of studio or trainer, don't just do what you did and don't just do what you think works. Challenge yourself to think a little bit outside. When I put out a program personally called Madness, I challenged myself, how do I make this thing different? So I ran it 90 minutes. I ran it on a free. And I said, how do I make this thing unique? I brought in a good friend of mine who's a DJ. We customized the music towards it. And I've hosted now 3 of these events that has over 400 or 500 people in a single class. There's 25 states, 12 countries. And it's genuinely because the workout is slightly different, has a little bit of hook. It's got different music, it's got different marketing, it's got the connection that's humanized. I'm reaching out to people, I'm inviting people, I'm sharing it, posting about it, constantly making it a thing. And that's what makes it special.
I think this is a very good closing point. Humanize the digital space. And we missed something here, but I think we will already talk about that.
That's kind of where we're at. Yeah, it's it's definitely humanizing it. It's
maybe
making people feel like, hey, I'm alone, but I'm still in this with you.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe the very last quick question would be virtual reality. Where do you see this going for boutique fitness experiences?
I am a big believer, and I think this thing is coming. I think it's coming faster than we realize. I think the technology is there. It's just going to get a little more kind of friendly to the general public, where I might be in New York City and somebody might be in San Francisco, but if I have something on and I can look around and feel like I'm with those 60 people again and see an instructor on a podium, I mean, we're talking about a level of entertainment and experience beyond our wildest imaginations.
Cool, Andy. So that's my favorite slide.
Hey, that's me.
I will never think that. In a second, you disappeared. So, Andy, thank you so much. That was very good conversation. I learned a lot. And
thank you very much for having me.